I'm enjoying my camp. I think I've taken a big step from OTAs to camp, just development in the offense, and so I'm enjoying these reps a lot.
Can you speak to the value of the joint practices, not just working against other players and stuff, but in how they can control situations and make sure you're getting certain reps with certain guys?
Yeah, absolutely. Joint practices are great. It's a good opportunity to compete with a different look, with different guys. It's not necessarily a game setting, but it's still game-like reps. We practice against our guys a lot, so it's refreshing to get out there against another team and get those reps as well.
What's the difference between this year and last year for you? Obviously being here, being more comfortable, getting a chance to really compete for the number 2 job. You just talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, last year was it was a lot to come into an offense with a couple veteran quarterbacks that have been in it for so long. I was playing catch-up really all year, just trying to kind of, get to their level of knowledge of the offense. So anyway, it was a great year for me to kind of redshirt, if you will, and learn and kind of develop in the offense a little bit. And I feel a lot more comfortable, obviously OTAs and now in camp than I did last year. So just keep continuing to take steps and be ready if my number's called.
What was your goal coming into training camp?
Just to take that next step. Like OTAs was good. It was kind of my first time getting reps of really running the offense. But there was a step needed to be taken, and so my goal coming in was to take that step. Just mind speed, being quick through my progressions, knowing the offense, and owning it. Taking the next step is owning the offense and then being able to execute and take completion. So that was big for me.
You feel like you've done that so far through 2 weeks?
Yeah.
You got a lot of young receivers. How important is it to kind of, you're a young quarterback, young receivers, try to get that chemistry with them?
Yeah, it's extremely important, especially for these preseason games. It's just confidence going both ways, right? Like I need to know where you're going to be. You need to trust me to put the ball where I say I'm going to put it. But I'm proud of these guys, man. They've been working hard. I like our young group, and I think that they've done a good job just accepting the grind, right? Like it's a grind out here. They got to run a lot. It's a lot of days in a row. It's a lot. The offense is one of the more complex offenses I've been in, and it's a lot on the receivers, and they're doing a good job.
What makes it so complex for you?
I think just the amount of I don't know if you want to call it checks or kills or different things that are adjusters within the offense. It's a lot for a young guy, and I think part of that is just Dak being in the system for a long time. You kind of start to just build the offense and do different things that you wouldn't necessarily do if you had a younger group. But like I said, the young guys have done a great job picking it up and handling it, and been really impressed with those guys.
How different is the Nuss you knew back in the day to the Nuss you know now?
He's different. He's the Nuss back in the day was probably a little more gritty, a little more. Had a little bit more of an attitude to him. He's softened up a little bit. But no, Nuss is great. I mean, he's the same guy. I really enjoyed my time with him in Florida, and my time with him here. He's a great coach. He really is.
What makes him a good teacher?
His attention to detail. He demands a lot out of his guys, and it kind of brings the best out of you. Getting to kind of play for him in college and the NFL is kind of funny, but both times I've been with him, I just feel like he's gotten the most out of me. Just he demands a level of knowledge that a lot of it's tough, but he expects it, and it's made me a better player.
Was his voice deeper back then?
It was the same raspy. It may have been more raspy back then. His hip was a little bit more jacked up back then. Got that fixed, so he's running around a lot better now. But no, he's the same guy, man.
What are you seeing from Houston that makes you guys as quarterbacks say, hey, let's get him the ball?
Yeah, the main thing is funny. I think he loves football. He knows where to be. He knows, like I said, it's a lot on the receivers, a lot of adjustments and things they got to kind of just mind speed. They have to pick up and know, and he does a really good job just being in the right spot, competing and making plays. And it kind of jumps off film when a guy is just doing the right thing every single play.
I know you weren't in camp with Simi Fehoko last year, but you did see him in practice last year. How have you seen him? It seems like he's really making some plays out here.
Yeah, Simi's done a great job. I think, as a receiver, if the ball's thrown your way, at the end of the day, you got to come down with it, right? I think that's just the ultimate goal. Is it's not always going to be perfect. It may not be a great throw or the right play or whatever, but I love that Simi has just continued to make plays down the field. You know, he figures out a way to bring the ball down, and that's really important.
Purely uninformed, outside looking in, but just watching you practice, you seem very willing to take shots and be aggressive. Mm-hmm. Is it as simple as saying that's where your reads take you, or are you making a concerted effort to do that?
I probably lean towards the aggressive side a little bit. I think there's a good balance, right? We live in the gray as quarterbacks with, you know, if you hit the shot, they're like, oh, great job. If you don't, they're like, you probably should check that down. So there's a lot of gray area, right? And I always lean towards the aggressive side, and obviously situations are going to kind of dictate that. You know, in practice out here, I definitely lean towards the aggressive side. I want to take shots. I want these guys to know that the ball can come to them down the field. But there's definitely a good mix of checking the ball down. I do a good amount of that as well. So. And
the cliche is like a guy that's fighting for his job might be a little bit more conservative. Do you have to fight against that when you want to make throws like that?
Not really. I mean, I have to be me at the end of the day. Like, me fighting for my job is just me trying to be the best me I can be. And I'm not going to, change who I am for that. I think a lot of it is just me coming up to work every day and just being the best me I can be. And I don't think that's being conservative. You know, it's not. I'm not going to like sit back there and drop back and just throw the back on every play. That's just not who I am. And you have to have a good mix of both. So.
It wasn't us, I promise you.
Speaking of the quarterback battle, particularly between you and Rush, you're both having a really good camp. Battle's heating up just a little bit. Now here comes the first preseason game after the joint practice with the Broncos. What are you, Will Grier, looking for you to see from yourself that after the game you can look at the film and say, okay, I had a good outing?
Yeah, I think just executing, finding completions, being efficient. You know, I can make the big play, I can move around, I think I do a lot of things well, but I think for me, biggest thing is being consistent, finding completions, just moving the ball, not being conservative, but just taking what the defense gives me, so knowing when to take shots, knowing when to take completions.